There's nothing that brings me more joy than seeing people these days build the systems in their business so they can go on vacation, a true vacation where they're not stuck to their phone the whole time.
So, welcome our guest on, Kristen David. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today, Kristen?
Doing great. How are you, Terrell?
I am great. I am great. Now, I guess a lot of people are probably very, very interested in how in the world did you figure out how to, one is to take a vacation, because I talk to so many law firm owners who are just like, I really don't enjoy my vacations because I'm constantly thinking about what's happening at the firm. So, like, how did you figure that out?
It took some work, and my ex-husband or husband at the time had to take away my cell phone and my watch on a couple of small vacations first to get me in that mode of quit looking for the time, quit being, constantly trying to look at the clock. So part of that was a mindset refresh to just enjoy when you're on vacation. That was one part of it.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. So, I want to go back and just talk about, what that journey looked like and how it unfolded. So, back when, when you set that goal, that probably wasn't your reality. Your business probably didn't look like it was ready for you to be able to do that. So, like, what did it look like when the chaos was there? And then let's walk through that journey of how you got to achieving that goal and where you are now.
So I probably was only working like, 60, 65 hours a week at that point when I set the goal to live in the south of France for 30 days. And at the time, I had my brick and mortar law firm, and I had no idea how I was going to do it. Like, no idea. It started with a decision that somehow, some way, I was going to make it happen. And I was still working way too many hours. It was less than the 85 hours a week I had been working, but I still didn't have a full team. I didn't have all my systems built, but I knew that I wanted to be able to live in the south of France for like a month and be able to make it all work. And sometimes it just starts with a decision.
I love that. And because I think there's so many people who struggle with that of just, coming to that point where they're going to make a decision. So I guess now after you made that decision, like, how did that journey start to unfold for you, going from like, hey, I made the decision. Now, how do we get to reality?
Yeah. Well, technology was still catching up with us. And so I'm a bit of a planner. So I mapped a plan and I thought, okay, who do I need in the office that can run everything, like the legal pods, the admin team, the secretary, to really make sure that balls weren't going to get dropped in the office. On a second note, we needed better technology, like the brick and mortar server in the office. And, it was like, we got to get rid of that. We got to get to in the cloud where we had information where if there was an emergency, I could be able to log in remotely and be able to check information. So a lot of it was like plan A, perfect world. They all managed without me. Plan B, what do we do if Kristin does need to step in and do things? And plan C, who would be local if I couldn't be reached for some reason, to be a coverage person to really make sure that things could stay on track and no malpractice, things like that. So a lot of it was some of that planning, and then it was reaching out and setting it. Now, keep in mind, when I made the goal, it was like sometime in the next 5 years, I'm going to do this. Like, it wasn't necessarily like I'm going to do this in 18 months, which is funny because now I've helped people do it in like 18 months. But at the time, I gave myself permission that, okay, in the next 12 months, I want to make sure I get this legal pod in and this part of it built. And in the next, by 24 months in, we need to be completely like, the cloud base wasn't what it is today, but I knew that I wanted to get to that place where I could remote in and see everything if needed. So it was really just setting some goals on the calendar and saying, okay, who's going to help me with this, and researching the tech and researching and keeping your eyes open for the right team members and training them up. So It took some work, but man, the south of France is beautiful, everyone. And it was just a trip of a lifetime. And it's what inspired me to later. These days, I now have an apartment in Paris. I'm there multiple times a year. I usually go for 5-6 weeks so I can really get into the habit of going to the farmer's market and picking up my fresh eggs and my cheeses from the cheesemonger, and living like a Parisian and having fun. And but yeah, so it was the catalyst that got me going on this journey that I could work from anywhere and still run a successful business.
Awesome. I love it. Now, you and I know each other personally because I mean we've worked together on several things, and I've always
You-
enjoyed working with you.
You've
And
been to
one of the
Paris?
things,
Yeah.
yes, I have seen the apartment in Paris. I know it exists. And it is a beautiful place. Now, one of the things that I've been privy to that some of the people who are watching this or listening to this, they're not privy to is what your business looks like now and the impact that you have in helping other business owners and law firms figure this out. So tell us a little bit about what your business looks like now.
Yeah. So, brick and mortar back in the days of the law firm, I was doing legal malpractice and medical malpractice and built out a whole litigation department. And it was more helping people one at a time, one client at a time is really how it felt. And as part of that transition, when I sold the law firm, I wanted to be able to help millions. I wanted to be able to help hundreds of people. And there's nothing that brings me more joy than seeing people these days build the systems in their business so they can go on vacation, a true vacation where they're not stuck to their phone the whole time. The fact that I can do a presentation, whether it be a webinar or a live stream or some kind of an event, and reach hundreds of people at the same time is just so much more impactful. I mean, we can help give those biz nuggets. You do it every day, Terrell, with getting on here and sharing stories and sharing tips for your business owners. That we don't know who needs to hear that today, but somebody someplace needs to hear this messaging, and it's what can transform them. And what we do now is we help business owners build systems so that they can delegate, so that their team knows how to do a great job and can work with confidence and thrive rather than always being scared or fearful or uncertain. It's a miserable way to live. And so for every business owner we help, we amplify that to help their family, their team, their team's family, their clients' families. So everyone is better by the owner building the systems and running a successful business.
Awesome. I love it. Now, if people are interested in learning more, they're like, hey, I want to find out like how do I get involved? How do I learn more about, this awesome business that Kristen has of helping people get the systems that allow them to enjoy those other aspects of having a balanced life and just having a business that doesn't consume all of your life. So, how do they find more about your business and how do they get in touch with you or follow you?
Absolutely. Uplevelingyourbusiness.com is our main website. It has all of our systems packages by department, by position. It has our boot camps and our coaching. So lots of information and a ton of free resources on the website. But also our Upleveling Your Business Facebook group is public. You can jump in there. Always lots of action steps, tips. I'm just a big believer of give and help business owners, even just small little items in their day to day. They cumulatively will come together and help form the systems that give you the freedom to travel and to enjoy life. So, yes, check it out, everyone. And Terrell, we have had some amazing times together over the last couple of years in the US, in workshops, in France. You've been there a couple of times with me. And I just love that you're doing so much to help educate business owners on they can have a better life, and their numbers are a key part of that. And having a good plan in place is the other part of it. So thank you for doing what you're doing as well.
Well, absolutely, absolutely, and I will always be a supportive of the amazing work that you're doing, and I can even testify to, like, even when we hired a marketing person, and I was getting ready to do a speaking engagement for BMW, and they asked, like, "Do you have a book?" And I was like, "Well, we don't have a book," but I was like, "We can make a workbook," and at the time, I had no idea how to create one, and so we reached out, and I actually one of my marketing, staff members worked with one of your coaches on how to create workbooks. We created the workbook, and BMW paid us $9,000 to give everybody a workbook, to where I'm just like, you know what? I would have never known where to start with this had, your coach who helped my team member get that done. And I think it's been a huge win for us. And I've always enjoyed being able to educate more people about the finance side of running a law firm, a business. So I'm a huge fan of what you do.
Aw, thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for being a guest. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Law Firm and Finance Show, where we give you great content that helps you build a more successful law firm. So make sure you hit that subscribe button on all platforms and follow us for more content.